The insane true story about Henry Hill who snitched on Paul Vario. Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese is still a famous crime movie, mostly because of how realistically it shows the life of the mafia. Goodfellas is more real than other gangster movies because it is based on the true story of Henry Hill, a member of the Lucchese crime family, and his friends James, Jimmy the Gent Burke, and Thomas desimone. The famous Lufthansa heist, which was the biggest theft ever done in the US land, is at the heart of this interesting story. Let's start talking more about these real-life gangsters and the daring heist that changed American crime history forever. Henry Hill's exciting trip into the world of organized crime began when he was young. Born in 1943 to parents who were both Irish-American and Sicilian-American, he spent his youth in the heart of Brooklyn, New York, where thieves were always around. At just 14 years old, Hill couldn't resist the appeal, so he quit school and joined the dreaded Vario crew, which was led by the powerful boss, Paul Vario. This changed the course of his life. This was the start of a difficult and dangerous journey into the world of crime. From the start, Hill was drawn to the strong mobsters he met and tried to find comfort and a sense of belonging among them. He moved up quickly in the mafia's ranks because he was committed to the way of life and knew a lot about the streets. As his status in the Lucchese crime family grew, so did the seriousness of his jobs, which included everything from setting fires to beating people up to stealing credit cards. His unshakable loyalty and ruthlessness made him respected and feared by his peers. This made him a very active member of the criminal society. The profitable Lufthansa robbery. In 1978, Henry Hill and his trusted partner James Burke, also known as Jimmy the Gent, planned the famous Lufthansa heist. This was one of the most daring and profitable robberies in American history. 11 mobsters, mostly from the Lucchese crime family, worked together to pull off the bold heist at New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport. This operation brought in a staggering $5.875 million in cash and jewels, which is the same as over $20 million in today's money. The Lufthansa heist brought Henry Hill and his team to the attention of the criminal underworld. It also made them richer and more famous than they had been before. The brazenness and skill with which the heist was pulled off made their peers both admire and fear them. It was a success like no other, and it seemed to solidify their position as untouchable crime lords. But the seductive power of their increased wealth and fame turned out to be their downfall. They had no idea that their incredible success would finally bring them down. Law enforcement agencies paid a lot of attention to the big theft, which made the mobsters a top priority for probes. As more people started to suspect the criminals and the noose got tighter around their necks, the once unbreakable criminal kingdom started to fall apart. Even though the Lufthansa heist was a big deal in the world of organized crime, it also led to the police finding out about their illegal actions. As law enforcement worked harder to bring these gangsters to justice, the once impenetrable front started to fall apart. The fall, being caught and charged. Even though Henry Hill made a lot of money from the daring Lufthansa heist, law enforcement finally found out about his illegal activities. In April 1980, he was arrested on charges of drug dealing. This was a big turning point in his life. At first, Hill was stubborn and refused to give in to pressure or break the illegal code of silence. But the criminals he worked with cast a long shadow over him and posed a very real danger to his life. Hill did something that had never been done before and changed his life because he was afraid for his safety and knew that he had become a target in the criminal world. He decided to go against the long-standing rule of loyalty and help the police. Hill chose to share the secrets of the criminal empire he used to be a part of. This was a betrayal that sent shockwaves through the mafia world. By turning into a spy, he revealed how the Lucchese crime family worked and gave important details about the Lufthansa heist and other crimes. When Hill decided to help the police, it was a huge change in the way organized crime worked. It shook the roots of loyalty and trust in the underground. His story brought down many important people, including the influential Paul Vario. It also became the basis for the best-selling nonfiction book, Wise Guy, and the famous crime movie, Goodfellas. This book went into depth about Hill's life in the mafia and showed what was really going on behind the scenes of organized crime. The effect of wise guy grew even bigger when it was used as a model for the famous crime movie Goodfellas. The movie, which was directed by Martin Scorsese, told the exciting and scary story of Hill's life as a thug and the terrible results of his choice to help the police, the witness protection program, and some of the problems it faces. Henry Hill joined the witness protection program after helping the police. This is a program that gives spies and their families a chance to start over with new identities. Even though he was promised a new start, Hill's life as an insider was full of problems, and he faced many of them during his time in the program. One of the hardest things for Hill was getting used to his new name and breaking away from his violent past. Because of the draw of his old life and his constant fear of revenge from his old friends, it was hard for him to fully accept his new identity and leave his old ways behind. Hill also had to deal with the fact that he felt compelled to tell people who he really was. This repeated, dangerous behavior not only put his safety at risk, but also showed how much he was struggling on the inside. He kept going back to the dangerous world he used to live in, it seemed because of the draw of his old life and his need to feel like he had done something right. In the end, Hill was kicked out of the witness protection program more than once because he couldn't fully fit in. Even though law enforcement tries to keep him safe, his actions and decisions often put him in danger and leave him open to threats from his old crime friends. History and death. The story of Henry Hill's life is a mix of success and sorrow. As a snitch in the witness protection program, he helped the police catch and put away strong criminals. This led to the creation of the famous crime movie Goodfellas, which made his name a part of criminal history. When he broke the mafia's code of silence, he did something very brave that will never be forgotten in the world of organized crime. But it turned out that being a spy wasn't all that exciting. Hill's days were always clouded by anxiety and the fear that his old criminal friends would get back at him. Even though there were attempts on his life, he was always haunted by the draw of the crime world he once admired. In the end, his long, hard trip caught up with him. Henry Hill died of effects from heart disease on June 12, 2012, just one day after his 69th birthday party. His death was the end of an amazing and unbelievable life. He was brave enough to go against the unwritten rule of loyalty in the mafia. Henry Hill's legacy will be indelibly inscribed in history as a multifaceted character whose deeds carried both heroic and sad qualities. This will be Henry Hill's place in the annals of history. The fact that he was prepared to collaborate with law enforcement brought justice to a great number of victims and revealed the seedy underbelly of organized crime. However, as a cautionary story of the high cost of treachery in the risky world of the mafia, his battles with the past and the risks of a life lived in the shadows serve as an example. We'll be back soon with more videos, so don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching!